Hi folks, and welcome back to the vlog. This week we have the fab Hilary Stock here. Hi Hilary.
Hiya.
Hilary's going to give us her 3 pro tips, the things she wished she knew when she was starting out, or at least along the journey of learning as such, with her magnificent limited edition photography. So let's waste no more time and kick on with your first point, Hilary. Perseverance. What's that?
So perseverance, I know lots and lots of artists say this, but it's simply the more work you do, the more work you're going to have available, the more material you end up with.
Right.
You have to persevere though, even on those awful days when you open the door of the studio and you just think, it's not happening. You have to just get on with it and inspiration will start trickling in. So I really recommend you've got to treat it like any other job. You've got to check in every day, day in, day out.
Do you think that as a photographer, that means you have to carry around your camera all the time, wherever you go, taking pictures? How does it work for you?
No, because the job of making art out of photographs is so broad. So sometimes I'm out and about. Actually, I mean, it's not a major part of the process. A lot of the time I'm at the screen. I might be at the frame makers. I might be commissioning, ordering prints. I might be doing my own prints. I might be negotiating a commission or approaching people. I can be doing so many things, but the bottom line is that within all of that, you are focused on the artwork and it's presenteeism that counts. You're doing it. Right. I mean, the danger as a photographer is you do get endless requests to do other things. And some of them are quite exciting and tempting. So I've ended up photographing festivals or doing stuff for magazines or even out in Africa teaching photography. But there's a real problem with that because you lose your focus. So I would suggest, this is something I've learned from experience, that if you are taking the art route as a photographer, really stick with it because the rest throws you off.
Okay.
So on those days when you're looking around thinking, not a lot of work in my head for art today, don't be tempted to go elsewhere.
As a photographer, what is the big difference between art photography and, say, festival photography or, news photography?
Tricky question, that one. It's a feeling. I mean, obviously, when I'm doing product photography, which I've done a bit of, that's incredibly technical. And if you just think about the technicality of a camera, you forget to look. And it's all about looking. And I think depending on what route you go, when I photograph for papers, you're watching a crowd or you're focusing on the story. You're not actually looking with an artistic eye. And the privilege of doing this artwork is that you can kind of stand back from the whole technicality. I mean, the camera just becomes a tool in that. And it's your eye that matters.
You've been through all, as you were saying, all of these various types of things.
Yeah, but I'm ready to settle down.
Brilliant. Well, talking about settling down, let's talk about this. This intrigues me, the 24-hour rule. What is that?
Yeah. So as a photographer, obviously a lot of my work is on the screen, but to really appreciate how it's going to be as artwork, I always make sure I print it out and I literally hang it around the house, put it in all the rooms I'm going to spend a lot of time with. So I'm going to be exposed to it a lot. And it's incredible how much your reaction to an image, an artwork will change over time. Okay. So in this household, we always have a joke about the 24-hour rule. I actually think that it should be 48 hours or even more, because then you're going to guarantee there's nothing out there that you're going to kind of regret. There is nothing worse than seeing your artwork on a wall that you rushed, maybe, and maybe you should have cropped it slightly differently, or maybe you look at it and think, oh, I left too much shadow in there. To avoid having that problem, you have it around for enough time to pick up on that. Your eye wants to go back and back to it if it's something good. It goes on being fascinated. If it's not good, it's not interesting. Your eye isn't going to be drawn to it. And you learn that very quickly if it's sitting about. But also the 24-hour rule has the advantage that you never, well, I feel you should never, ever, ever put anything out there that you're not 100% happy with, because it will come back to haunt you.
Funnily enough, I have this 24-hour rule when it comes to sending replies that I'm nervous about.
Yes.
If somebody sent me an angry letter and I have to send the
Yeah.
letter back, I write it and I say never send it, because I'm sure you can hone it better than that.
And how different it looks the next day when you're in a different mood.
And
Yeah.
you feel your own anger in it or whatever else in it, and and you can hone it so it gets back to the actual point you want to make.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Great tip.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So it's time on the ball, really. It's time on the ball. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, we're going to go on to your last one, which is being special. Well, aren't we all?
No, that sounds terribly immodest, but and it is a bit of a photographer's thing. Yeah. So the big problem with photography, selling photography as art, is that everyone, rightly or wrongly, thinks they can take a good picture. Yeah. So why would they want it as art? Yeah. So in order to make it a cut above, you've got to do something more. That's really important. So it's an advantage if the format or the style is in some way different or unusual. And I think I have come to find that people do not want, they want it authentic. They don't want images that have been really tinkered with in Photoshop. Right. In fact, Photoshop and the art world is a bit of a kind of swear word. Right. People want to think they're looking at something that is as you saw it. Or at least that's what I find. Obviously, there are lots of different areas of this. Okay. Another thing that I notice in terms of who buys what is it's got to be relatable. People have got to look at it and it's got to touch something inside them. Right. So I do, you can see behind me actually some forest work. Yeah. And I've had 4 different people from 4 different countries say to me, "Oh, that's my forest." Right. And none of them have been to the forest that it actually is. Right. So it's got to be something universal, but it's also somehow got to be unique and personal.
And I guess that's part of what you said before of this 24, 48-hour rule, is to take all of these things, then bring them back and then leave them. Live with them. So that you see the ones that catch you as your eye and inspire you over time. Yeah, definitely. Now, my final, and this again is very much a photography thing, I think, but basically if people are going to buy your photograph as artwork, as a picture, they're buying a product. Right. And that product has got to look really special in their house for some time. Yes. So I kind of go for the design and the finish of the work, right, which can be infuriating to your gallery owner, as you know. But I major on original presentation, but most of all handmade bespoke framing. And this has a major disadvantage of cost. This is not a cheap thing. Yeah. But it has the advantage in the context of photography of lifting a picture just above the normal. It just makes it something really special. Brilliant. Well, these have been really interesting. I'm going to look at my camera in a whole new way. Thanks so much, Hilary. Great to speak to you. You're welcome. And I'm going to leave everyone now with a roll of her magnificent work. If only you could see the work that goes into them as well. But message me or message Hilary, and I'm sure she'll explain everything for you. So for now, thanks for popping in. Bye. Bye.